Welcome to the Sunday rune and card reading. Welcome to anyone who is already following. Thank you so much for your feedback, for your likes, your shares. You are amazing. Thank you so much. And guys, welcome if you are new to my channel. If you'd like notification of any of the readings I do please press the subscribe button and the little bell icon. That way you'll get notification of all of the readings. And if you haven't already checked them out, you might want to touch base with the equinox readings. I've done them for each sign, so very powerful energy. We have the equinox tomorrow. I feel myself, it's like I'm slightly detached from my everyday world. I feel a bit unorganized. It's quite interesting. I've been meditating a lot this morning before doing these readings to get grounded. The energy that's available to us in terms of downloading and connecting to a greater universal consciousness is profound at this time of shift. And as I said, I've meditated a lot this morning before doing the readings. I've dowsed to see which cards we're using. I've shuffled, and these cards have literally leapt out of the packs that I'm using. We're drawing from 3 cards from one tarot pack, 1 from another tarot, and a Moonology card, and actually 3 runes, which is unusual to get this many runes in these Sunday readings. So guys, if you sit with your own energy, or if you have a question, and see which of the readings is speaking to you, reading 1, reading 2, or reading 3, on the screen you'll see the approximate timings of where they are in the video, so you'll be able to fast forward to whichever reading is calling to you. And if you're drawn to more than one, then I would say listen to both. It's a really good idea to sometimes listen to more than one, the energy of them both and the messages in both. Sometimes they kind of amalgamate, collaborate, and really help with that weekly guidance. You may get a little bit more than weekly guidance as well from these readings because of the equinox energy that's around. So guys, powerful time of the year. Let's move on to the readings. So much love to you all. Welcome to reading number 1. Now, the first rune that we drew is the rune of the Self. Very interesting, very powerful rune. The rune of the Self speaks about a period of major growth and rectification. It speaks of a willingness to change. It also asks you to to be balanced, to live an ordinary life in a non-ordinary way, to achieve your own balance, to do things for the sake of doing them, to not be attached to outcomes. It's interesting because if you slice the symbol down the middle, you get the mirror image of the rune of joy. But it's the rune of joy in balance. It's in balance, it's in harmony, the self aligning with the self. We then have actually the blank rune. Now this is an incredibly powerful rune. It's the rune of new beginnings. It's like a pregnant pause. It's I would say, the infinite source of possibility that sits in the unknowable future. It's a very powerful rune to be drawn alongside the rune of the Self. This would suggest that you guys are going through a major shift in your own personal growth, but it's about internal growth. It's not about external growth. It really is anything outside of you that is changing because of the internal growth process that you are involved in. You know, stuff that's going on outside of you is only ever going to be a kind of a mirror of what is going on inside of you. Now, our last rune is the rune of initiation. Wow. Again, this is a rune of you connecting to the divine. It speaks of something that is hidden, and it's not hidden in a secret way, as in a sort of surreptitious or negative way. It simply speaks about a level of personal growth that is so deep and so profound that it is not easily shared. You know, our own personal development, our own true insights and awareness are are deeply personal to us at a level of soul. So it's the kind of, it's the kind of energy of profound and deep personal change. It's interesting because it speaks about the flight of the eagle, soaring free, gaining a greater vision, having a higher awareness, a higher knowledge, higher insight. It also speaks, interestingly enough, of our external world only ever mattering or only ever existing as a reflection of our internal world, which connects into what I was saying about this, the rune of the self. And you guys are on a powerful spiritual pathway of evolution. Now, given the energy of the solstice, of the equinox, I'm muddling my solstices and equinoxes, but you know, actually the point is the equinoxes and the solstices are these extraordinary pivotal moments of shift where, as I said, it's almost as though the atmosphere is very thin. The divide between the divine and the earthly becomes very lucid. In fact, lucid is the word that I would describe the energy that I've been walking around in all morning. It's as though stuff is just streaming through, and I've needed to, as I said, really meditate to get grounded before doing these readings. It is as though everything is just channeling through at a rate of knots. So there's a rawness in that, but there's an excitement, an amazing kind of energy around. So let's just see what our cards are showing as well. Wow, we have the card of the Magician, the card of manifestation. Guys, I really would be asking you to get centered in your desires, your heartfelt desires, but I would also be asking you to make sure that you are in alignment with a greater calling. You know, this is about speaking to your higher self and really allowing yourself right now and over the next few days around this pivotal moment of the equinox to allow yourself to connect to any desires that are in alignment with the soul. It's like there is no room for kind of pettiness, or we of course still need to be connected to the everydayness of our lives, but my goodness me, this, if you were going to sit down and set intentions, this is the time to be doing them. If you were going to create a vision board but meditate into that process, this is the time to be doing it. This is a very powerful reading. Okay, so we have the Emperor, the card of leadership, of new beginnings, of new promise. Again, very much centered in your own development, new possibility. Be your own hero. Connect to your higher self, your greater self, itself. It's as though you guys are really stepping into the fullest possibility of who you can be. And this is a time to vision in that potential. Again, King of Cups. And I'm going to say is somebody in your world who is either showing the way. Either this either is you guys, you're in a place where you are very centered in back to that which is hidden, centered in a way that you can receive guidance that allows you to formulate your pathway, but it's your pathway in alignment with a greater calling. You get to make decisions here. You have a lot of choices available to you. This card speaks of choices, almost so many choices, so many possibilities. Again, the infinite source of endless possibilities that sit in the unknowable future. I feel that you guys are at quite a pivotal turning point in your lives where you may not be entirely sure which way you wish to go. Very powerful time of change. Our Moonology card says this is a time to give rather than to take. Now, the energy of this, bearing in mind, although I think because of the equinoxes, this has a different flavour to it than the usual sort of weekly guidance, but nevertheless, this is a reading of weekly guidance. So I would say getting back to being centered in our true calling will always be in alignment with that it's like our greatest contribution. That's what I'm really hearing very clearly. You are called to meditate into the numerous choices that you have available to you. I think some of you are trying to, or being faced with a lot of decisions, a lot of decision making. You're not quite sure which way to go. Align yourself in whichever direction is going to be about making your greatest contribution. That is going to bring out in you the very best version of who you can be. There is an extraordinary opportunity, I think, this week for you guys to really meditate into this profound energy of the equinox and begin to center yourself energetically in the synchronicity of events that will open doorways and possibilities for you, that will allow you to discover it's like your true calling. That's what I'm really hearing. Again, you know, the eagle flying free, rising above any kind of mundane kind of pettiness, any drama, anything that could hold you down is it's not clinging to you this week. You're able to be free of that stuff and to gain a clarity. Very, very powerful reading, guys. So much love to you. So much love. Welcome to reading number 2. Our first rune is the rune of protection, and it's in reverse. That's interesting. Our second rune is the rune of separation, radical separation, and again it's in reverse. And we then have the rune of strength. It's a very powerful combination of runes. These are very powerful readings this week. So the rune of protection speaks of control of the emotions. It's like don't drown in the highs and lows of your emotions at any time during, again, major periods of transition. It's interesting because it also says, you know, when it's in reverse, it asks you to look at the associations that you make, look at the connections to people, to things around you, and be discerning, work out those that resonate with you and those that don't. Which is very interesting because this is followed by the rune of separation. This is a rune of radical severance. It sometimes speaks of actually letting go of real property. Sometimes it speaks of an inheritance. But the inheritance sometimes comes because we need to let go of something in order to be able to receive or welcome something new into our lives. Again, we then have the rune of strength. I'm just going to touch base on the fact actually that this is in reverse as well. This in reverse, this rune is saying it asks you not to be tied to old ways of doing things. So it's like it's something in your life has outgrown its say its value or its use to you, but it literally is a way of life is ending and you are needing to step into something new. Fascinating, because we then come to the rune of strength. This is a rune of passage, a rune of terminations and new beginnings. It also sometimes speaks of challenges because, again, it's as though some way of living has outgrown its use or is no longer serving us, whether that's an internal behaviour pattern or a relationship or a job or fundamentally, this series of runes are all about endings and new beginnings. But it's like this moment where you are in this transition. You are needing to let go of something. I think for some of you this is feeling challenging. The rune of strength sometimes talks about the energy of, it's like that uncertainty, the wobble that we experience when we need to let go of something and we're stepping into something new or stepping into the unknown, and you are asked to find the strength to be able to do that. It speaks of the need not to try to hold on to something. If we do, we're actually losing an opportunity. So very powerful reading. We're going to just look at this card first, Princess of Cups. Very fascinating energy, because this card says you really do need to, again, allow yourself to become emotionally free. Allow your emotions not to to be fluid, to go with. I'm also hearing you need to listen to your intuition. I'm hearing that really, really clearly. So whatever changes, whatever decisions are going on, whatever it is that you need to let go of, you need to listen to your intuition. Your emotions will tell you. Emotions are like a sat-nav system. You know, when something is right, when it's resonating with us, when it's working for us, we feel good about it. When it isn't, we feel uncomfortable, we feel difficult, we get the challenging emotions coming forwards. You really are being asked to listen to your intuition, listen to your own inner guidance system, and listen to your emotions, because emotions don't lie, they speak from the heart. Your mind will lie to you, because our mind does, it's a human thing. I often think there's a difference between the stuff in our mind that is what I would call the ego mind or the higher self mind. You know, the things that channel through to us, that give us really clear guidance, as opposed to the ego stuff, which is orientated around, again, old conditioning, behaviour patterns, the shoulds and the shouldn'ts that we grew up with. Okay. So we now have the Hanged Man. You are needing to look at something really clearly and look at it in the face and see it for exactly what it is. If you do so, it will lose its power over you. It will free you to be able to make decisions. Again, really trust your intuition. We have the Page of Wands. This is a lot of energy to move forwards. There is energy available to you to move forwards. You may even find somebody comes into your life who initiates some kind of a change. We also have the Page of Swords. Now, these two, there's a clash here. Okay, there's a conflict going on for some of you guys. There is a conflict between. You are needing to let something go. There is a separation involved, terminations, new beginnings. This is a really clear energy. You're being asked to see it for what it is, or see someone for who they are. There's a clash of energy between you and someone else. This is an energy where, do you know, it can be really poisonous. It's the energy of gossip. It's the stuff of really destructive, you know, people talking behind people's backs, spreading rumours, telling lies, not presenting themselves for who they really are. You know, it's the stuff, you know, like the Chinese whispers, where someone says something and it gathers momentum. But actually, although we can get tangled up in the drama of that, we can feel hurt, we can feel wounded, we can really feel challenged by that, and very understandably. But you know what? It's extremely good information, because if you see people doing that and you know that's who they are, then actually, do you really want to be associating with them? Going back to this, this rune in reversal, where it asks you to look at the associations you make and to be discerning. Please be very clear with yourself. Listen to your own intuition. This is not a time to listen to the things that other people tell you. This is a time to ground yourself, listen to your own intuition. Again, energy of the equinoxes coming through, where there is a lot of illumination available to us. We can see things clearly. That can be a real challenge. Remember, we spoke of the challenging energy of this rune, but please listen to your intuition, listen to your heart, rather than the stuff that we get tangled into. Energy is available to you to move forwards. If you find yourself feeling irritated, angry at stuff that's going on, or the way that people are behaving, use that anger and the energy of that to move yourself forwards. Anger actually does serve a purpose for us. I know people see it as a very negative energy. One of the reasons I write and speak about emotions is because every emotion we have, we need. This is the card of emotionality. If any of you are tangled in anger, I'm not doing this reading to plug my books, but the book that I wrote, Mindfulness Meets Emotional Awareness, I have taken our most challenging emotions, including envy, which is what often gossip is about, gossip and rumour. I've spoken about anger and how we can use that energy and we can transform the resonance of that energy so it works for us rather than against us. I've talked about anxiety, fear, all the challenging emotions anyway. But if you're struggling, there are exercises in that book. It's a very small book, but there are exercises in it that help you to manage all of your emotions, the most powerful states, and use that energy so it works for you. Now what do we get? Emotions are running high. Our last Moonology card. Guys, truly, also if you connect in, if you're not wanting to read a book, connect into my my free library, the A to Z of Emotional Health. It is full of resources to help, again, manage our emotions, to help to actually understand how to use emotional energy in a way that channels that emotional energy for ourselves in a powerful and positive way. So guys, the readings are so powerful this week. It's extraordinary. Well, it's probably not extraordinary given the energy of the equinox, so they're also a lot longer than usual. But guys, so much love to you, so much love. Welcome to reading number 3. Our first rune is the rune of possessions. Very interesting energy. Let's make sure that's in the camera. So, lovely energy. The rune of possession speaks of nourishment, of fulfillment, of ambitions satisfied. Very interesting. It does ask you, it comes with an invitation to look at the meaning of what gain means to you. It asks you to enjoy and really celebrate your good fortunes, but also not to be reckless. Share the sort of your ambitions, your fulfillment. Share them with others, but be steady. As I said, sometimes if we do really, really well, we can kind of almost like dive into that. It's a bit like if you win the lottery and you spend it all overnight and then you've got nothing left. It's that kind of there's a caution here. So. But lovely energy. We then have the energy of Gateway. Gorgeous rune. This is interesting because this rune is a rune of evaluation. It's asking you to contemplate. Again, so this rune here is asking you to evaluate the meaning of profit, of gain in your life. What actually matters to you? What do you consider to be most important? This rune of Gateway is also a rune that asks you to evaluate. This rune comes with a message. It sort of says, visualize walking to the top of a mountain. Stand back and observe your entire life journey, everything that got you to where you are. The joys, the sadnesses, the highs and the lows. And bless every aspect of your past before releasing it and stepping through the gateway. So very interesting. It is a rune of contemplation. Our last rune is the rune of the warrior. Lovely energy. The spiritual warrior, the pathway of the spiritual warrior. This rune actually does sometimes sort of ask you to almost like get out of your own way. It asks you to be a conduit for the good, to be unattached to outcome, to also to be patient, to try to push stuff forwards, but to actually allow things to unfold. There's actually a message coming through here, actually, which is, I think some of you really are on the verge of something that's about to unfold. It's about to come to fruition, and I think it's going to be a very positive fruition, and I think you've worked very hard to get here. This rune comes with an invitation to enjoy your success, but also to evaluate and to align yourself with, again, it's like the greater good. Evaluate what profit and gain mean to you. Are you after material success, or are you after the richness of a spiritual pathway? There's a lot of evaluation going on for you guys, but in there's a lovely energy here. It's like enjoying your success and working out how best to use it. Very interesting as well. This rune also says if you have a question that connects to a relationship, it says that this relationship is providential. It's there with there's a purpose to it. So if you're asking about a relationship, if you had a question connecting to relationship, it says that this relationship is, you're coming together with purpose, and you're coming together to learn, to grow. Very interesting, because this is a card that has a very different energy about it, the card of futility. But it's curious because this card doesn't say that things are futile. It says that you may carry self-doubt. And it asks you to really question that. In fact, it directly challenges any form of self-doubt. It speaks of, I'm just going to leave this card here, we'll come to it in a moment. Your dreams need a practical plan. This card of futility speaks of the outcome of continual negative thinking, where we actually are, it's like we can be on the brink of success, but our self-doubt sort of somehow energetically stops that success from coming through. Queen of Cups, lovely energy here. Self-care, self-preservation, self-value. Nine of Pentacles, again, a card of success. And we have the card of the Lovers, of choices. And then we have this card, the Moonology card here. Your dreams need a practical plan. Okay, so I'm hearing a very clear message here. You are asked, actually, to review something. You're being asked to take a review. And you've worked very, very hard to get to somewhere. You've been investing a lot of energy in manifesting something that you want. Now, for some of you, that may be a career pathway. For others, it's a relationship. You actually do have choices available to you. You have options. But what this reading is saying is there's something within you that you are needing to let go of. You know, back to blessing our past, there's energetically something that's sitting in you that is causing you to still have, there's some kind of niggle or energy of self-doubt. This reading is saying to you, please stop doubting yourself. You've worked really hard. You are where you are because you have worked so hard. There is some aspect of your history, I think maybe you've learned, there's some message, some internal belief that you should be looking after others rather than yourself, that somehow you shouldn't be allowed your success, or there's something around entitlement, worthiness to have. You know, there's an issue of having, whether that is in relationship or it is in materiality. Now, you guys, if you can let go of that, if you can identify it, yeah, let it go. Bless your past. I have a lovely exercise that I use for myself, and I talk about it with other people too, where if I recognise that I'm going over something, or that there's a connection that's to something that happened in my past, and somehow the energy of it is still clinging. You know, when stuff just comes to mind and you think, why am I still going over that again and again? Some kind of internal belief around self-worth, worthiness, entitlement to have. If you can sort of bless your past and everyone who contributed to the person you have become, then it shifts from being a negative part of our past to being a positive one, because there's a gain in it. We've learned from it, and there's, as part of the review and connecting into the energy of the equinox, there is so much available to us in terms of a download of universal energy. If for any of you who haven't yet, as I said, connected into the equinox readings for your signs or your moon sign or your rising sign, please do so, because there's a real powerful opportunity that's around us at the moment. Any lack of belief, you need to bless the past, you need to let it go. Engage in your own self-care and prioritise your own self-care, and prioritise your right and entitlement for ownership. It's a clear message. That energetic shift within you is going to free you up to receive. And I really want to say, I feel like you are on the verge of receiving something. You know, possessions, nourishment, fulfillment, ambition satisfied. Yeah? I think that you really are on the verge of being able to open your arms to receive. I do think you need a practical plan. Your dreams need a practical plan. There are choices and decisions that have to be made, but the shift that needs to come is within you in terms of letting go of some kind of belief, and providing you do so, I think the way will become clear, and whether that is decisions in terms of relationship or decisions in terms of your own material world, your career, your finances, one way or the other, you need to center yourself in the energy of entitlement and having, of self-care. Please know, when we overgive to other people, we are, people who, I'll start again, people who take a lot, the takers, the selfishness that we do see in the world, that creates an imbalance, okay? And there's an energetic imbalance. But actually, if you overgive, you're also fueling an imbalance too. We need to be centered in our own entitlement to receive in every possible way. And when we do that, then doorways of opportunity become clear. We step through that gateway. Again, we then step into this region of getting out of our own way and allowing the universe to open doors for us, the synchronicity of life. And so our decision making becomes clear. So much love to you guys, so much love. Such powerful readings this week, they really, really are.